It's like emotion. People are taught to hide their emotions. Men are taught to think that it's crazy to cry, and women are taught to be emotional, and men are taught to think that that's crazy. So when something really shitty happens to someone, like if a guy loses a job or something, and he just sits in front of a friend and breaks down and cries, and the other guy just looks there and sits there and thinks that this guy has to be crazy for crying. Then the guy rejects the guy who is crying, making him feel even worse, making the guy bottle it all back up inside of him. I think for this I need to use my southern voice. I think people are like Pepsi bottles. You know, remember those bottles? Pop always tasted better in those bottles. You can always take a swig down, it would just swig down easier. You could just fit your lips around that glass a little better or something. I wonder why people don't use those bottles so much anymore. Well, I think people are like Pepsi bottles. Like they have all this potential for all this energy, and the whole world keeps shaking them all up, and some people lose their heads, and their top goes off, and all this icky stuff comes shooting all over the place, and all these Pepsi bottles want to hide because all this poor guy just has no Pepsi left. But what can you do when you've got no Pepsi left? Or maybe you do lose it, but you still have some Pepsi left in you. And people keep thinking that you don't have any Pepsi left, and then you have to try to hide from everything, and they think that you shouldn't be allowed to even like tie your own shoelaces, or you should be watched while you're actually getting dressed. Can't they turn those cameras off? I heard this one story of someone here a while ago. His name was Tony. He was a guy that was in here for murder, and the thing was, well, he was in here, he went crazy, he cut off his own scrotum. I don't know how a man could actually survive something like that, but I guess he did, because he was in here, and from what I hear, he was using the payphones to call 1-800 numbers to prank whoever would answer at the other end. Well, I guess he kept calling this one place where these women would answer the phone over and over again, and they got fed up with it, right? So they traced it or something, and they got the number from the hospital and talked to his doctor. And I think that they told him that Tony cut off his balls. Now, I thought doctor-patient privileges were private, but I suppose that doesn't really matter because we're all crazy prisoners, you know, killers that don't matter anyway. But he told these girls that Tony had actually cut his balls off. And these, happened 2 months previously. And so then this guy, Tony, actually called them back, talking dirty to him, not knowing that they knew that he was a murderer with no balls. And they laughed, and they made fun of him, and they told him that they knew, and he hung up the phone, and he never called them back. True story. Swear to God. I mean, can you imagine him wondering how they actually knew, or were they just making a joke? Or did you know that I write? I figured that if they won't let me read anything, maybe if I could just put stuff down on paper and read it to myself, I guess. I try to write poetry, but it just don't come out right. So I've been trying to write down things that have been going on in my life, what I went through, like what I would, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I figured that if other people that are prisoners actually get to be bestsellers and make tons of money, then, well, so can I. I mean, my story's better than half the crap that's out there. I figured there's got to be a lot of women who have gone through it and gone through what I have, or at least have a little part of them that has wanted to do the things that I've done. Well, I think that all women feel it, but most of them are taught to suppress it, to keep it all bottled up in them. But, now that I think of it, what am I going to do with a bunch of money anyway? It's not like I'm going to get out of here anyway to enjoy it or anything. Actually, if I actually got somebody who would actually want to read it in the first place, then they would think I'm crazy to begin with. Sometimes I get so depressed. It's like I'm never going to get out of here. I think I wanted to have kids one day. It's easier, I guess, not having to see kids, I guess, but then I don't miss them so much, but still. For the longest time, they tried to get doctors to come in here and talk to me, and you know what they did? They got male doctors, one after another, and they wonder why the hell I wouldn't want to actually talk to them. Amazing. People don't really think, do they? I guess it's hard being in here and all. I mean, I was going to go back to school. I'd already got my GED and graduated from high school, and I was going back to the local community college. It was going to be different. Sometimes I wonder, you know, why this had to happen to me, why I had this snap. I really don't think I could have controlled it. I don't think any of this could have happened any other way. It's hard. I have to find stuff to do, but otherwise I just end up sleeping all day and night, and I suppose I could, but then what would happen to me? At least if I write a book about my life, about this whole stupid world, then maybe then everyone would at least understand. It wasn't really my fault. I mean, I think we women have enough to deal with just in our regular lives, and then they have to keep piling all this sexism crap on us, and then, well, we're just not expected to actually be angry about it because we're taught to just deal with it all of our lives. But maybe this guy was just a stroke that brought the last straw that broke the camel's back or something. Maybe he was just another rapist. Maybe he was just some guy and I was just his girl and he thought he could do anything with me, or I was just some chick that didn't matter or whatever. But it does matter to me. At least to me it does. Huh, I just won. I know I've got a lot of healing to do, but I haven't really thought about doing it. I mean, what do I have to heal for anyway? To get out of here and go to prison? Then I'll just be abused by guards over there. And I have to watch my back every second of the day. At least here, I've got people to watch over me. At least, you know, here they think everything and anything in the world could actually harm me, even myself. So they're so overprotective that nothing can go wrong, unless it goes wrong in my own mind. It was replaced by the patient, the crazy person.
Thank you. The doctor again.
Thank you, thank you.
Was that based on a real story?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see in the newspaper tomorrow.
I created a story because at one point years ago I was playing solitaire a lot, and I'm like, right, I just said something.
I like when you started, you were doing these gestures, like keep on putting your hair behind your ear.
But it's like all crazy.
But then you move forward.
And it would all just fall apart.
And you put it back again, and then you move forward.
I'm like, what do I do?
I couldn't relate to that at all.
Hey, what
I found it impossible.
in the script you're reading,
Yes.
is there a reminder to flip the card periodically or move something?
No, because I was just deciding to do this, and I'm like, oh, I should be playing solitaire while I'm here, and might as well have myself winning at the end and finishing off the
No,
hands.
but I mean, in order to make it work out evenly with the end of the script, you have to figure out when to do it.
Yep.
Time it.
I have to remember. I have to remember which voice I want to have.
Has anyone heard Dennis Leary's Voices in My Head?
Well, it's Dennis Leary.
That was
Thank you
wonderful.
very much. Thank you.